Another video here. I'm just going to keep putting these out until I get tired enough to go to sleep. So, just having this thought about rifles and how a man like Schauberger thought to rifle a pipe to accelerate the water, and yet we spend so much time rifling guns. So this is a patent from 4th of March 1940, and I'm going to hold my phone here. You can screenshot these pages, and then I'm going to put my phone down and I'm going to read it. So that is the meandering membranes. Okay. And there's a model. Okay. Just put my phone right here. It is known that atomic transformation has been carried out by way of atomic destruction without having achieved any useful economic or commercial results in the process. I know that's a pretty offensive thing to say, but I don't really care. It is also known that the dissociation and recombination, therefore, the rearrangement of atoms, can be effected in the substrate with the aid of a catalytic process. In this regard, it has been observed that these processes take place in a characteristic cycle or oscillating rhythm until a new state of equilibrium is established. The process for the atomic transformation of liquids or gaseous bodies associated with this invention takes this rhythmical tendency during the course of such process into account from the very beginning. Namely, in accordance with this invention, the aforesaid substances will be subjected to an increasingly rapid flow motion, during which these substances will be exposed to alternating strong suctional and pressural forces, which results in significant changes in their surface tension. Furthermore, this invention also makes use of the fact that the presence of certain substances, especially metals such as copper, silver, or gold, for example, or those substances collectively termed synthetic resins, plastics, which are also decisive for the progress of the vital functions in liquid or gaseous air, and whose effect can in part be described as oleodynamic. Therefore, if said course of motion of the substances to be dissociated is also allowed to proceed oleodynamically, then the severing of the atomic bonds can be successively achieved to a large extent and considerable energies freed. These freed energies can readily be brought into new combinations, such as for the further development of the atoms of primary gaseous substances into liquid or even solid formations. Or these energies may be drawn off or diverted in some other way. So, an example of this device for implementing this process is depicted on the drawing, diagram 1. Diagram 1 shows the section taken through AB. On the top view, diagram 2, two circular steel metal plates made of silver-plated or amalgamated copper are press-formed in such a way as they are endowed with a wavy-form shape, and are superimposed on one another in such a way as to create a wavy-form interstitial space. Both plates are maintained at a distance from one another by already known methods. The lower plate is attached to the backing plates, so in this case, a flywheel, which are insulated from one another by a hard rubber plate. On the upper plate, 2, 3, or more cover plates are mounted in such a way that they initially rest on the wave crests of such plates before gradually tapering downwards into the wave troughs. In this way, the narrowing pressure chamber narrowing pressure chambers are formed, whose longitudinal axis runs parallel to the circumference. On the inner inclined surface of the upper plate, narrow slits are incised. The central component incorporates a spacer ring. Spacer rings incorporating nozzles can be provided in the interstitial space. Furthermore, the hollow shaft opens into the cup-shaped component, whose inner surface is advantageously fluted and which has exit openings into the interstitial space. If the device is caused to rotate rapidly in the direction of the arrow, then the liquid or gaseous substances entering the pressure chamber will be impressed downwards and sideways through the slits into the interstitial space, in which a considerable suction evolves, so that the space acts like a suction chamber. The whole device, therefore, represents a kind of multi-stage centrifuge, each concentric wave being regarded as a stage. It can readily be understood that the liquid or gaseous substance present in the pressure chamber, having been subjected to strong pressural forces here, immediately pass through the slits in the pressure chamber walls and partially expands. At the appropriate rate of rotation, a maximum pressure will be reached, under which a bioelectrical energy evolves, with whose aid the primary combinations of the through-flowing liquid or gaseous substances will split up, whereupon these freed energies can be synthesized into any desired form or drawn off. The material for the two plates, silver-plated or amalgamated gold or synthetic resins, plastics, can be used. If synthetic resins is used and seawater, for example, is impelled through the suction chamber, then insipid fresh water is obtained as a result of the process. The arrangement can be so designed that the upper plate and the lower plate can also be provided with cover plates, so that the pressure chambers lie on both sides of the suction space. And I'm going to end it there. Actually, I'll explain. In this picture, you can get a sense of the gills. So they start at the crest and they taper into the trough, so that you have a compression tapering here, almost like the way the winds of the Atlantic travel through into the Mediterranean, and you get all those winds in Tarifa. If you've ever been to Tarifa, very windy.